Although Jesus performed the miracle of calming the storm, his disciples are filled with confusion and are in terror. The story of Jesus calming the storm is about faith over fear. Jesus was explaining all these parables to his close disciples. But still, after all these teachings, his disciples don't get it. And therefore, we see after the miracle is performed, the disciples are filled with fear. Although they are amazed, they remain unbelieving. When you listen to the miracle of calming the storm, you have obvious questions. The miracle starts from Jesus moving away from the multitude, instructing his disciples to move to the other side of the lake. Now, what is there on the other side of the lake? On the other side of the lake is the Gentile territory. Now, Jesus is moving away from a crowd that is very favorable to him into an uncomfortable territory. Why would he do that? What does moving away from the multitude or a very popular crowd mean for us today? Is moving away from a familiar crowd telling us to move into unfamiliar, uncomfortable areas to complete the mission that God has entrusted to us? Now, walking away from popularity may initially increase the intensity of fear, but it is a time of faith to trust in God. We are asking these questions the disciples were in the boat with Jesus and the disciples were afraid. And most people are asking this question: is the fear of the disciples reasonable? So the disciples were fishermen. They were experienced and confident to navigate moderate storms in the sea. But they also had heard that some of their colleagues, other fishermen, had died by drowning due to a deadly storm. As the disciples assessed that this storm is deadly, they are experiencing a level of fear. They think that they will die, and they want Jesus, who is sleeping inside, to come and help them. And therefore, many people say that this fear of the disciples before the miracle is justifiable. Did the disciples really expect Jesus to give them a helping hand and to navigate the storm? Most of the people say that the disciples approached Jesus, but they were expecting Jesus to come and offer them a helping hand. As fishermen, they were expert to navigate a storm. Jesus had no experience. So they were asking Jesus to come and help them. They were not expecting anything spectacular, that Jesus would calm the storm. This was beyond their imagination. As they were navigating the storm, the disciples accused Jesus for not giving them a helping hand. Although they did not expect Jesus to perform this miracle of calming the storm, they assessed that if they do not survive the storm, they, along with Jesus, would die. And Jesus, in this scenario, was sleeping in the stern on a cushion. In a way, Jesus was in comfort as the disciples fought a deadly storm. So why did the disciples use this word teacher and not Lord? So what the disciples needed in this point of time was Jesus' display of power. They do not need a teacher. They were struggling through a storm, a deadly storm. And they did not need Jesus' instruction. They needed Jesus to save them from the storm. But still, they called Jesus teacher instead of Lord. Many times in the Bible, teaching and authority goes together. So they failed to understand that Jesus was not just the teacher, but he was the Lord. Like the disciples, we too panic and pray to God, accusing God that God does not care for us. It is a time that we allow our faith to triumph over fear. And you know what happened? Jesus calmed the storm and the waters were still again. And the disciples wondered, who is this? Why talk about Jonah to understand the miracle of Jesus calming the storm? Now, Jonah and Jesus both were in a boat as there was a storm in the sea. Now, both these characters were rebuked for not helping the other sailors to navigate the storm. And both Jonah and Jesus, through their intervention, the storm was calm and people were amazed. But there are also dissimilarities between these two stories. Jonah was in a boat going away from the Gentile territory. God had given him a mission to go and preach the gospel to the Ninevite Gentiles, whereas Jesus was going towards the Gentile territory. In a way, Jonah was disobedient to his mission, and Jesus was obedient to his mission to go towards the Gentile territory. There is another distinction. Jonah did not calm the storm. God calmed the storm. Whereas Jesus is displaying his power as God. As Jesus calms the storm, he is demonstrating he is greater than Jonah. Why would the disciples be afraid after the miracle? There is no logic to be in fear after the miracle. But the disciples are finding it difficult to understand this person of Jesus who has performed this miracle. And after the miracle, they are amazed, but they still have this unbelief. And therefore, this question, who is Jesus? Who is this man? This question will continue till the point of crucifixion, as a Gentile will point out and say, this was truly God's Son. The story offers hope in midst of difficulties and persecution, even for us today. Don't panic, but trust in God to calm the storms of your life. Thank you for staying with me and watching the entire video. I appreciate your time. Give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Share this video with your friends and talk about this video in the comment section below. And see you. God bless you.